Yo, what's going on, guys? We got to talk about this guy, Connie Knueppel. Kon Knueppel. I don't know why I called him Connie. Makes my nipples hard. I don't know, guys. Either way, let's talk about the front runner for the Rookie of the Year. I said in the pre-draft, if you guys watch or read any of my pre-draft coverage on hoopshype.com or the videos that I put on this channel, while you're here, hit that like and subscribe button. I'd like to hear your comments down below. What do you guys think of Kon Knueppel? Now, the thing I always said about him was I thought he was basically the white man version of DeAndre Hunter at the very least. And obviously, I said he wasn't as lanky, but I felt like he was a guy who could have a similar, if not better, offensive impact than DeAndre Hunter could have, and the trade off would be as impactful DeAndre is on defense. Con maybe might not be. So it's kind of like similar archetype, but different, impacts. But he's exceeding expectations. So let's get right into today's video and discuss what we're seeing from the young man who this Charlotte Hornets, by the way, Ryan Kalkbrenner shooting over 80% from the field and 2.5 blocks a game is fantastic. I love Ryan Kalkbrenner. I thought he was going to be a first round pick because of the skill set. He was the best drop coverage pick in this year's draft class. Deion James is another guy who's really cooking. By the way, what are your guys' thoughts of LaMelo Ball on the bench going into overtime? I want to hear your thoughts on that. And he had, a double-double last night? Just let me know your thoughts, and let's get right into it. Break down what we've seen so far in the tape. And I think this isn't really us projecting anymore. It's more of a report on a player who's forcing everybody, the entire league, the entire association to take notice. I think the bottom line up front, the Charlotte Hornets have a star in Kon Knueppel. His performance to start the season validates this claim. He isn't just a good rookie. He is seemingly a high-impact player who's forcing us to reevaluate how the Hornets' offensive hierarchy is going to be. And if you look at the stats, the advanced metrics, he is obviously the team's anchor on offense. He's shooting, I know it's through like 12 games or whatever, a hyper-efficient true shooting of like 73% almost. He's one of the most effective volume scorers in the league. And his presence on the floor has generated a staggering plus 40.1 net rating swing, which shows he's single-handedly stabilizing the roster when he's on the floor. And with early season injuries to Brandon Miller and, whatever's going on with LaMelo Ball has accelerated the touches in the role that Kon Knueppel has been expected to handle. And I think he's demonstrated the versatility, being a guy who's almost averaging, 20 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, proving that he can carry the load as a potential primary option, not just as a floor spacer. And the guy's a front runner to win the Rookie of the Year if it were to be here. And I want to talk about what makes him a star and what truly makes him just an interesting player to watch. And I think Kon Knueppel's output of 17 points per game at 32.4 minutes a night meets that. And as we said, that his insane shooting numbers, and which are going to come down because it's the start of the year, but he's up in the upper echelon of NBA scorers. And the fact that he's been able to do this, and I know the team's record of 4-8 right now, 4-7 against a tough Eastern Conference. I think he's been able to raise this team's floor. And another thing, him almost averaging 7 boards a night and 4 assists a game just shows that he's the secondary playmaker who's able to impact the boards, physically impose, as well as really more impactful than just the standstill shooter that a lot of people were trying to make him seem when he was in the pre-draft. And this is what I think the Hornets saw when they took him 4th overall. And this is the same place that DeAndre Hunter got drafted for a reason. And this is a cornerstone, okay? In his college pedigree, he came in as a guy who was shooting 48% from deep in college. 48% from the field in college, and then shot 41% from deep, shot 91% from the line. And as we said right here, he's almost 40% from 3 to begin the year. And the other thing is that the offensive pecking order, once LaMelo and Mr. Brandon Miller are back, it's going to be interesting because another thing, Miles Bridges is also averaging 20 points, and that's probably going to make the pecking order go maybe Brandon Miller, Kon Knueppel, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, or Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Kon Knueppel. And he's kind of looking like a guy who was expected to be a rookie as a role player to being a rookie who might be leveraged into a star. And what we knew or what we've seen that Kon Knueppel can go from a spacer to an offensive hub. And as we saw in the beginning of the year, they were using Kon Knueppel as a primary floor spacer who was playing mostly off the ball. And then with the extended absences of some of their primary, creators, specifically with Brandon Miller, it forced the Hornets, Charles Lee, to put the ball in Kon Knueppel's hands and ask him to be the primary option. And this is baptism by fire, in my opinion. And it revealed his capacity to handle star level responsibilities and as a high usage player. And that's showing that he's not just a complementary piece. And obviously, during this period, he's averaged almost 20 points, almost 9 rebounds, 4 assists, nearly putting up a triple double. And throwing him into the deep and watching him not sink showed us that he can swim with the Sharks. All right. And he managed the requirements of a star player under duress. And that's what you want to see. And for the season, we've already said he's averaging almost 17 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists a night, and 32 minutes a night. And he's leading basically most of the rookies in all those metrics. And he dropped a career high 24 points on the Utah Jazz, then followed that up with that 32-point game last night. He is absolutely amazing. And like any rookie, he does have some volatile. He can be volatile. Oh my God, volatile, volatility, his volatility. Why did I just? He can be volatile. He has some volatility that sometimes, he'll have swings. And I think that's anything you should expect from a player. But the numbers are so good. And obviously, you said there's an expectation for it to regress, but he's creating this offensive gravity as opponents cannot help but over rotate to run him off the line, which opens up the floor for everyone else. And he's going to pass it because that's the type of guy he is. And this gravity directly explains why the Hornets offensive rating skyrockets when he's on the floor, as moving his value beyond the box score. He's actually made history by becoming the first NBA player ever to record 150 points, 33 pointers in his first career 10 games. And I think this just shows how impactful. And I think we've talked about all the stats, and when he plays, they're a 10.2 plus net rating, and when he sits, they crater to a negative 29.9. That swing represents the difference between a team that's competitive when he's on the floor to a team that kind of sucks when he's not. And I just think that he's kind of like the culture setter there for a team, and him being as good of a rebounder, a guy that is refuting the initial off-ball only standstill shooter, but confirming that he can defend and facilitate. And on defense, he's on a learning curve, but his massive net positive rating proves that his offensive value far outweighs any deficiencies that he might have on the defensive end. And I just think that a guy right now who is a direct driver of the team's strong three-point play, they're almost making 15 threes per game at a 37% clip, while the team almost is shooting 60% true shooting. And we've already talked about that net rating, but he creates just efficient possessions, stabilizes the offense, and it falls off a cliff when he's on the bench. And obviously with LaMelo Ball and the off-ball gravity that Kon Knueppel creates will give LaMelo Ball acres of space to operate. And I really think that will create some synergy that will allow Kon Knueppel to transition from that emergency third option primary engine to maybe a co-star to optimize the system next to LaMelo and Brandon Miller. And right now he's the but the front runner for the rookie of the year, just killing it scoring wise. And if you see his peers, I just think that everybody else is just not even close to being as impactful for him. And Miles Bridges is kind of the veteran on this team right now. He's scoring 20 points per game, but if this continues to go, I mean, Kon was always looking like he's the fourth option, but he can maybe slowly climb his way up and be the third guy because of his shooting gravity and his way to fit on this team. As you're assuming LaMelo remains the primary creator and engine, Kon Knueppel's the perfect co-star with him. Brandon Miller, when he comes back, I think he'll be able to be there. Maybe his rookie season, he remains a role player once Ball and Miller are fully healthy and they return as he settles into this third scoring option. Miles Bridges goes into that fourth option. But what we said, that 32 plus per, 32 point per game that he had, or 32 point game he had, could not speak right there, just shows like how impactful he can be. And we do need to prioritize, if I was the Hornets, Charles Lee, the defensive learning curve, but honestly, just knowing that he can establish what he's doing right now and just continue it will be huge because I think for a guy like Kon Knueppel, I think they have a star on their hands and they need to build accordingly. So let me hear your thoughts. That's my ramble. Bye.